The deadliest special force units in the world. Ever wondered about those super-secretive elite special force units that operate in the shadows of the traditional military? These squads are like real-life secret agents, carrying out top-secret missions that most of us will never even know about. Prepare to be amazed as we unveil the hidden world of these extraordinary teams, their origins, how they recruit and train, their high-tech guns and armament, and the jaw-dropping covert missions they undertake. Get ready for a thrilling ride through the history and accomplishments of some of the world's deadliest special force units. 8. GIGN, France. Meet the Group of National Gendarmerie Intervention, GIGN, a fiercely skilled special operations force within the French gendarmerie. This exceptional unit, consisting of around 1,000 extensively trained personnel, specializes in high-stakes endeavors such as counter-terrorism and hostage rescue. Unit members wield the HK-416 assault rifles, Sig Sauer SP-2022 pistols, and the PGM Hecate II rifles. The unit's authority over French sovereign territory is shared with the special response units of the National Police, and its training center is situated in Bain. As cool and prestigious this special unit appears to be, becoming a member is no walk in the park. The recruitment and training process is nothing short of soul-crushing. Candidates are subjected to a 1-week pre-selection screening followed by a 14-month training program, provided they earn acceptance. Mental acuity and self-discipline are just as crucial as physical prowess. Paralleling many elite forces, the training regimen is both stress-inducing and marked by a notable failure rate, especially in its initial phase, with only 7–8% of volunteers successfully completing the process. Candidates must swim 50 meters with bound hands and feet, a trial designed to sift out the less tenacious, resulting in about half the hopefuls requiring assistance. For those who pass, a 5-mile run with a 44-pound backpack follows, accompanied by a barrage of physically and mentally grueling challenges. Imagine walking on a 65-foot-high, unstable plank while being cross-examined by 2 relentless drill instructors. But that's not the pinnacle of the ordeal. In a trust exercise, a trainee dons body armor and suspends a clay disc from their neck, right in front of their chest. Another candidate then has to shoot the disc. This is supposed to foster trust, but trusting someone who aims at your chest is a tough sell. Unsurprisingly, about 90% of the remaining candidates opted out of this challenge. Clearly, the GIGN is in search of the most audacious individuals to join their ranks. The GIGN training encompasses a wide range of critical skills, spanning from proficient weapon handling and combat shooting to aerial maneuvers like halo or hey-ho jumps, paragliding and heliborne insertions. It also covers underwater combat, swimming, diving and naval boarding techniques, as well as hand-to-hand combat mastery. The training extends to covert surveillance, stalking for investigative support, infiltration tactics, escape techniques, disposal of explosive ordnance, neutralization of chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear devices, survival and warfare expertise in diverse environments such as tropical, Arctic, mountain, and desert settings, and the cultivation of diplomacy and negotiation finesse. Initially a lesser-known unit, the GIGN rose to prominence following their remarkable involvement in critical incidents. Since its inception, the unit has executed about 1,000 missions. In conjunction, they have liberated more than 500 hostages, apprehended over 1,000 suspects, and neutralized 12 individuals. Notably, after the hijacking of Air France Flight 8969 in 1994, their reputation soared. In this harrowing event, 4 jihadist terrorists commandeered the flight from Algeria, holding hostages and threatening to crash the plane into the Eiffel Tower. Following negotiations, the Algerian government permitted the plane to depart, eventually landing in Marseille under the guidance of the French government. When delaying tactics proved futile and the terrorists began executing hostages, the GIGN sprang into action. Their courageous assault on the plane, broadcasted live to the nation, involved the discharge of over 400 rounds of ammunition and the use of multiple explosives. As a result, all 4 terrorists were neutralized, and while 9 GIGN operators sustained injuries, no further hostages lost their lives. Fast forward to November 2015, when a group of 9 terrorists, purporting to retaliate against French airstrikes on ISIL, orchestrated a series of attacks across Paris, marking the deadliest day in France since World War II. Amid the chaos, the terrorists took over the Bataclan theater, where a crowd of more than 1,500 was gathered. In this dire situation, the GIGN was mobilized and emerged as a pivotal force during the eventual storming and rescue operation, expending over 5,000 rounds of ammunition. While the terrorists claimed numerous hostages' lives, it is highly likely that without the swift and effective response of the GIGN, the casualty count would have been substantially higher. And when you think it can't get any better, the operation of this Russian special unit will blow your mind. 7. Alpha Group, Russia. Russia's Alpha Group is a distinguished special forces unit known for its exceptional skills and ruthless efficiency in countering threats. Despite doubts surrounding Russia's military capabilities, Alpha Group remains a formidable entity within the Russian army, upholding its motto, "Where Alpha appears, compromise stops." The primary focus of the unit revolves around countering terrorism and extremist groups, apprehending and incapacitating their operatives, and successfully resolving intricate hostage scenarios. These tasks encompass high-stakes operations such as the intervention in hijacked airplanes, buses, and trains. Notably, the Alpha Group also boasts a dedicated detachment responsible for safeguarding VIPs, highlighting the unit's extensive scope of competencies and duties. The core strategy of Alpha Group revolves around swift and decisive threat elimination. Their tactics prioritize the use of intense firepower, including shooting and grenades, often eschewing negotiations. This approach was strikingly evident during the 2002 Moscow theater hostage crisis, which saw Alpha Group's intervention lead to the elimination of terrorists. Joining Alpha Group is an arduous endeavor. Prospective candidates must meet stringent criteria encompassing physical, psychological, and intellectual standards. Clean criminal records and a willingness to undergo extensive background checks are prerequisites. Special Unit Alpha comprises elite members aged between 22 and 27, while seasoned veterans hold managerial positions and instruct in logistics. Regardless of background, all candidates, including police officers and specially trained army personnel, start the selection course on equal footing. University education, physical and mental fitness, and strong moral qualities are prerequisites. The selection process spans over a year and decisions are collective. Chosen candidates undergo an intense 3-year training covering infantry, parachuting, diving, sniper operations, practical shooting, languages, martial arts, and global terrorism studies. Learning from others' anti-terrorism experiences equips Alpha operatives for any challenge. Operatives form 12-member groups in 4 teams, aiming to halt compromise wherever it arises. Joining Alpha demands commitment and dedication, with a rigorous selection ensuring only the best qualify. The training readies them to face any challenge with courage and skill. Special Unit Alpha represents the pinnacle of excellence, and its fortunate participants take pride in their service. Alpha Group members are equipped with premier weaponry, boasting the finest arms Russia has to offer. Their arsenal features the HK-417 assault rifle, PKM machine gun, and the Precision Dragunov sniper rifle. Armed with such firepower, encounters with the Alpha Group often culminate in swift and resolute actions. The group's history is punctuated by successful operations. In 1995, they neutralized an armed hijacker who had commandeered a bus carrying South Korean tourists, demanding ransom. In 1997, Alpha Group orchestrated the release of Swedish trade councillor Jan-Olof Nyström, kidnapped in Moscow. The group adeptly employed hostage swaps, ensuring the safety of hostages while eliminating hostage takers. On October 23, 2002, approximately 50 Chechen rebels forcefully entered a Moscow theater, taking around 800 people hostage during a packed performance of the popular musical Nord-Ost. As the second act of the musical commenced at the Moscow ball-bearing plant's Palace of Culture, an armed individual appeared on stage, firing a machine gun into the air. Among the terrorists were several women carrying explosives strapped to their bodies, all identifying themselves as members of the Chechen army. Their sole demand was the immediate and complete withdrawal of Russian military forces from Chechnya, the war-ravaged region situated north of the Caucasus Mountains. Following a 57-hour standoff within the Palace of Culture, which resulted in the tragic loss of 2 hostages, Russian special forces encircled the theater and launched a raid on the morning of October 26th. Subsequent revelations unveiled a strategic approach. Powerful narcotic gas was pumped into the building, rendering nearly all the terrorists and hostages unconscious. The special forces then breached the walls and roof and accessed the premises through subterranean sewage tunnels to regain control of the situation. Alpha Group's significance extends to addressing Russia's series of high-profile hostage crises. Notable incidents include the Budyonovsk hospital crisis of 1995, the Moscow theater crisis, 2002, and the Beslan school crisis of September 2004. These events resulted in substantial casualties among both hostages and Alpha Group personnel. The unit's role was pivotal in resolving crises and mitigating the impact of these tragic occurrences. And if the Russians can display such ruthlessness, just imagine what you can anticipate from the upcoming entry on our list: a ruthless amphibious special force. 6. Frogman Corps, Denmark. If you assume that the era of Vikings is a thing of distant past, think again. The Frogman Corps is a Danish special military force that boasts a mere 150 highly skilled personnel, yet their achievements are astounding. If there's a VIP section in Valhalla, it's likely reserved for this elite group. With a specialization in maritime operations encompassing reconnaissance, sabotage, and counter-terrorism, the Frogman Corps operates with remarkable efficacy. Back in 1957, the Danish Navy established the Frogman Corps as a diving school, addressing maritime challenges that conventional naval vessels couldn't handle. This specialized unit was conceived to fill this critical gap. To nurture the Corps, the Danish Navy sent 4 officers for training with the US Navy SEALs and the Norwegian Froskermannskorps, leading to the formation of the Frogman Corps. After 13 years operating as a diving school, the Frogman Corps transitioned into a full-fledged unit under Navy Headquarters, SOK, in 1970, becoming an integral part of Denmark's Special Forces, charged with executing maritime operations during both peacetime and wartime. In times of conflict, the unit's main responsibilities encompass shipboardings, securing enemy vessels, and conducting special reconnaissance missions to gather intelligence on adversaries. The Corps is also trained to sabotage enemy naval installations, disrupting their operations, and is capable of direct combat missions against enemy forces. In peacetime, the Frogman Corps aids the Danish police in search and rescue operations that require their diving expertise. The unit is also equipped to carry out underwater demolition operations, including obstacle removal and the destruction of enemy underwater installations. The journey to becoming a frogman is one of rigorous training, commencing from the moment candidates apply. There, training, held at the torpedo station in Kongsør, entails a series of courses, including a 3-week combat swimmer course, advanced scuba diving, rescue swimming, and survival training. At its heart is the 9-month basic frogman course. While around 500 to 600 candidates initiate the course annually, only a select few complete the intensive 9-month program. Since its inception in 1957, merely 311 individuals have earned the title of frogman as of 2015. Even Crown Prince Frederik of Denmark belongs to the exclusive group of individuals who completed the demanding training program and earned the prestigious Frogman badge. Successfully passing the selection process and subsequent continuation training, he earned the nickname Pingo. The Danish Frogman Corps training regimen plays a pivotal role in cultivating highly skilled soldiers skilled at intricate maritime operations. Their armament includes the MP5 submachine gun, Sig Sauer P226 pistol, and the HK416 assault rifle, and so many others. The Frogman Corps has actively participated in numerous international operations. Notably, the Frogman Corps played a role in operations in Afghanistan, such as Task Force K-Bar, and in Iraq. From 2008 until the end of 2014, they were deeply involved in counter-piracy operations under Operation Ocean Shield. In a noteworthy feat on February 5, 2010, 10 Frogman Corps members aboard HDMS Absalon L-16 conducted a counter-piracy mission in the Gulf of Aden. Approaching the hijacked merchant vessel Ariella, they liberated the crew who had barricaded themselves, diligently scouring the ship for fleeing pirates. In November 2021, a Frogman Corps unit was engaged in counter-piracy operations in the Gulf of Guinea, deployed aboard the Royal Danish Navy frigate HDMS Esbern Snare F342. During a confrontation with suspected pirates on November 25, 2021, 4 suspects were killed, 1 was wounded, and the surviving 3 were captured. Remarkably, the Frogman Corps soldiers emerged unscathed, but the excitement doesn't stop here because the Polish have some surprises in store for you. 5. JW Grom, Poland. This Polish special military unit stands among the most formidable special forces worldwide. Founded on July 13, 1990, JW Grom reigns as Poland's premier elite counter-terrorism force. Equivalent in mission, scope, and operational commitment to the United States Navy SEALs, while drawing inspiration from the British SAS and American Delta Force, JW Grom undertakes diverse roles including direct action and unconventional warfare. Their multifaceted missions demand a specialized toolkit, leading to the utilization of a wide array of weapons by the teams. Specializing in stealth operations, JW Grom has left its mark on numerous high-profile domestic and international missions, although their work often remains shrouded in secrecy due to their preference for operating in the shadows. Since its inception, JW Grom has been part of both high and low-profile operations, including deployments like Operation Uphold Democracy in Haiti, Operation Enduring Freedom, Afghanistan, and Operation Iraqi Freedom. The force has played a vital role in apprehending war criminals, especially in the aftermath of the Bosnian Wars of the 1990s. The journey to becoming a part of JW GROM involves a rigorous and highly demanding training regimen. This includes training in escape and evasion, survival, counter-terrorism, and hostage rescue techniques. Aspiring candidates must navigate psychological and durability tests, alongside the arduous truth test, a field test both physically and psychologically grueling, designed to filter out those less suited for the challenges ahead. To become a member, one must be a Polish citizen. Enhancing the chances of selection for the physical fitness test can be achieved through multilingualism or higher education. Both civilians and enlisted soldiers are eligible. Existing security clearance or the ability to pass the test is required. The age limit is 30 years. Candidates can attempt the physical requirements only twice, and merely 10% will successfully progress through selection. Candidates carry a 20 kilograms ruck at all times, starting their day at 5 a.m. Activities encompass orienteering, extensive marching, calisthenics, running, and military rations as sustenance. Weight loss exceeding 7 kilograms within 6 days is not uncommon. Successful candidates face more rigorous testing. Extreme fatigue is induced, and candidates must answer random questions correctly to demonstrate mental capabilities and toughness. They engage in shooting practice while fatigued, even during live field tests. Malnutrition is deliberately introduced to identify the resilient ones, exposing them to ice water, pepper spray, and taser shocks. Medical staff withdraw candidates unable to withstand excessive hardships. JW GROM candidates traverse training phases including green, blue, and black, burning 5,000 calories daily. Their training encompasses anti-terrorism, special operations, frogmen, sniping, and parachuting. Teams are prepared to assume colleagues' roles when needed. Approximately 75% of GROM personnel possess medical training aided by professional physicians. GROM soldiers are skilled in capture or kill techniques. Enduring what is essentially torture to become top-notch combatants is not a choice for many. Alcohol consumption and fighting are forbidden outside tasks. The unit's 1,500 members are equipped with specialized gear, including the modular assault rifle FBM-SBS, Glock pistols, MP5 submachine guns, shotguns, and sniper rifles. JW GROM's obscurity underscores their exceptional work as a secretive and effective combat force operating deep behind enemy lines. In 1996, a group of GROM soldiers in the former Yugoslavia established the Polish Special Police Group, later known as the Polish Special Group. This unit operated within the context of divisive and observational forces, primarily engaged in tasks such as safeguarding important individuals, protecting national minority groups, securing strategic sites, and intervening in crisis scenarios before larger UNTE's forces arrived. During this operation, GROM soldiers apprehended the war criminal Slavko Dokmanovic, known as the Butcher of Vukovar. In May 2003, following the conclusion of the US-led war in Iraq, GROM soldiers embarked on a new mission. This endeavor involved countering supporters of Saddam Hussein and Arab mercenaries in what is often referred to as guerrilla warfare. GROM soldiers were primarily responsible for locating and neutralizing associates of Hussein and members of Al-Qaeda, and if you've ever experienced the Delta Force video game, get ready to have your mind blown by the upcoming details you're about to discover. 4. Delta Force, USA. Delta Force, while primarily a top-tier counter-terrorism unit tasked with neutralizing high-value targets and dismantling terrorist cells, demonstrates remarkable flexibility. This elite force engages in a range of operations including direct action missions, hostage rescues, and covert assignments, often in collaboration with the CIA. Moreover, they provide security to senior leaders during visits to conflict-ridden countries. Even if you're familiar with the video game of the same name, the reality of Delta Force surpasses any virtual experience. This premier U.S. Special Military Unit consistently undertakes the seemingly impossible. Founded on November 19, 1977 by Colonel Charles Beckwith and Colonel Thomas Henry, the initial unit members underwent rigorous selection involving demanding land navigation tests in mountainous terrain while carrying progressively heavier loads. This assessed their endurance, resolve, and mental strength. The first training course took place from April to September 1978, with Delta Force achieving full mission capability just before the Iran hostage crisis in the fall of 1979. Operating in utmost secrecy, the unit's regiments and daily training are shrouded in mystery. With approximately 1,200 personnel as of 2017, Delta Force conducts one of the most rigorous selections. To be eligible, candidates must have actively participated in a battle during a conflict. Selection, occurring twice a year at Camp Dawson, West Virginia, spans 4 weeks. The selection course commences with standard fitness tests, followed by progressively challenging land navigation courses. The culmination is a demanding demanding 40-mile march over rough terrain with a 45-pound rucksack known as the Long Walk. With each trial, the distance and weight increase while time decreases, testing candidates' physical and mental resilience. The mental evaluation phase commences with a series of psychological assessments. Candidates then face a panel consisting of Delta instructors, unit psychologists, and the Delta commander. This board subjects candidates to a barrage of questions, meticulously analyzing responses and mannerisms to induce mental fatigue. Subsequently, the commander personally notifies each candidate of their selection outcome. Successful candidates proceeded to undergo a rigorous 6-month operator training course, OTC, designed to impart counter-terrorism, counterintelligence, and firearms proficiency. Throughout this training period, limited contact with friends and family was allowed. Former Delta operator Paul Howe highlighted the significant attrition rate during the Delta selection course. He recounted that out of his 2 classes, each comprising 120 applicants, only 12 to 14 individuals successfully completed the selection process. For many US soldiers, considering the country's turbulent recent history, eligibility for Delta Force isn't a major obstacle. However, becoming a part of this specialized unit demands expertise in demolition, firearms, and navigation, all of which are further honed during the training course. Trainees refine their shooting accuracy by engaging stationary targets at close range, progressing to moving targets, and eventually practicing in a simulated environment with enemy targets. Lockpicking skills, advanced demolitions, and bomb-making techniques using common materials are also taught. New Delta operators receive instruction in demolition and marksmanship, participating in hostage and counter-terrorist scenarios that involve collaborative efforts between assault and sniper troops. Situations such as building aircraft and confined space interventions are simulated. The training regimen is intentionally grueling, aiming to test a person's resilience and determination. Some accounts suggest candidates endure as little as 3 to 4 hours of sleep per night for weeks, simultaneously subjected to intense physical and endurance training. Delta members are trained in the use of diverse weapons, including the Walther MP, Colt Commando M16, and HK-MP5. While many Delta operations are classified, some details have been disclosed. Notably, the unit received recognition for its role in Operation Urgent Fury, the invasion of Grenada, and was awarded the Joint Meritorious Unit Award. Additional accolades include the Valorous Unit Award for heroic actions during the Modelo prison hostage rescue and Manuel Noriega's capture during Operation Just Cause. During Operations Enduring Freedom and Iraqi Freedom, Delta Force received the Presidential Unit Citation for combat contributions. A notable achievement was the 2019 raid by Delta operators and the 75th Ranger Regiment that led to the death of Islamic State leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. While such behavior might be anticipated from the US, it's quite surprising that not everyone in the UK adheres to the gentlemanly stereotype, as demonstrated by this exceptional group of elite soldiers. 3. SAS, UK. The Special Air Service, SAS, is a special forces team in the British Army. It was started in 1941 by David Stirling and later became a group in 1950. They're really good at a lot of things like stopping terrorists, rescuing hostages, secret missions, and spying. Most of what they do is secret, so the government doesn't talk about it much. There are 3 parts of the SAS. The main group called 22 Special Air Service Regiment, a backup group called 21 Special Air Service Regiment, Artists, Reserve, and another backup group called 23 Special Air Service Regiment, Reserve. They're all part of the United Kingdom Special Forces. The SAS is one of the oldest special forces groups and is considered one of the best. They only take the strongest and smartest soldiers in the UK. To become part of the SAS, you have to go through really hard training. You have to march a long way, go through jungles, and climb mountains. It's one of the toughest training programs for special forces. The SAS usually picks new members 2 times a year, once in summer and once in winter. While anyone who's fully trained in the British Armed Forces can try, most of the people who apply come from light infantry, airborne, and commando groups. The selection process takes about 5 months and has different stages. Each stage is meant to really test the candidates and see if they have what it takes. This is why the program has a really high failure rate of about 90%. Many people quit because of the stress or getting hurt. The ones who stay have to be even better than what the selection team expects. First, there's a physical test to make sure candidates are fit enough. Then they have to do long walks with heavy gear in the Brecon Beacons, a mountain range in Wales. They're given guns, heavy backpacks, and food, and they have to do this walk called the fan dance alone in 20 hours. It's really tough, and some people have even died trying. After the fan dance, the ones who are still in the running get trained on guns, tactics, and how things work in the SAS. This is when they learn about secret stuff and medical care, and they even learn how to fight. This part happens in jungles in places like Brunei, Belize, or Malaysia. After successfully completing the jungle phase, candidates come back to the UK, specifically to Hereford, which is the home of the 22 Special Air Service Regiment. Here they go through more specialised training and testing related to their skills. They work on improving their accuracy in shooting, fine-tuning their combat driving abilities, and getting better at using foreign weapons and vehicles. Candidates also attend airborne school, where they learn how to do jumps with parachutes, both by static line and by freefall. They also go through a tough program that teaches them how to survive and resist in combat situations, kind of like the CR school in the US military. Then comes the final test, a one-week challenge where they are pursued and intensely questioned. If they make it through this, they are on their way to becoming part of the active SAS. After the whole SAS selection process, the initial group of around 200 candidates gets reduced to only about 25. These remaining candidates go to operational squadrons for more training and eventually for real missions. They are the best of the best in the British Armed Forces and are awarded the beige berets and the SAS badge, which has a winged dagger on it. They earn the nickname Blades. With such a tough recruitment process, it's not surprising that SAS operations often involve the unit taking down enemies that are much larger, sometimes even 20 to 30 times bigger without losing any of their own members. The SAS has been part of many well-known operations, like the Iranian embassy siege in London in 1980, the Gulf War in 1991, and the war in Afghanistan. One of their most famous missions was Operation Nimrod in 1980, when they rescued hostages from the Iranian embassy in London. Now the next unit, which would also be from the United States, are known for their ruthless demeanor and the extensive training that almost turns them into human machines. 2. Navy SEAL Team 6, USA. The United States undeniably possesses the most potent military force globally, and within it operates one of the most lethal and efficient special military units in history. Navy SEAL Team 6, officially known as the U.S. Naval Special Warfare Development Group, known as DEVGRU. It is a highly secretive and elite organization responsible for coordinating counterterrorism and security missions worldwide, and is one of the units under the Joint Special Operations Command, JSOC. Other units within JSOC include the renowned Delta Force of the Army and the Air Force's 24th Special Tactics Squadron. JSOC was formed in 1980 after a failed attempt to rescue American hostages from the Iranian embassy during Operation Eagle Claw. By October 2010, The Atlantic magazine disclosed that defense officials had once again given a new name to DEVGRU, although this new name has not been publicly revealed. While a significant portion of DEVGRU's operations remain under classification, certain activities have been confirmed and brought to public attention. Among these operations, the most noteworthy was the bold raid on Osama bin Laden's compound in Pakistan, resulting in the elimination of the elusive al-Qaeda leader. The primary responsibilities of Team 6 revolve around counter-terrorism and unconventional warfare operations. Naturally, joining this elite group demands more than the qualities of an average US soldier. In fact, it might even require more than the capabilities of an ordinary human being. Their training program appears designed to crush the spirits of even candidates with Superman-like qualities. Prospective members initiate their journey with fundamental physical training, engaging in rigorous strength-building exercises and intense cardio workouts. Adding a breathtaking twist, instructors plunge candidates into the water with their hands bound behind their backs, demanding completion of tasks using only their teeth. Candidates are instructed in underwater knot tying and untying without respite for breath. The brutality escalates further in Week 4, infamously known as Hell Week. This grueling phase subjects candidates to 5 days and nights of relentless training, allowing just 4 hours of sleep throughout. Amidst exhaustive exercises, recruits wrestle with sleep deprivation while enduring activities like boat-bearing runs, mud crawls, and lifting 300-pound logs. They even experience surf torture, where they confront crashing waves on the shoreline, replicating the struggle against open sea currents. Notably, around 80% of candidates drop out after this week, which seems an apt decision given the escalating intensity. Past this point, the recruits are subjected to even more demanding challenges, including torture survival and chilling immersions in ice-cold water. As training nears its culmination, candidates are transported to Alaska, where they endure 8 minutes in frigid, ice-covered waters. Just 1 minute before hypothermia sets in, about 2 minutes before potential limb loss, and approximately 4 minutes before death. Considering this grueling regime, team, it's not surprising that annual SEAL Team 6 training casualties exceed those from actual operations. However, completing such an ordeal bestows an almost superhuman resilience. As a result, the unit's choice of M4A1 carbines, HK416S, and Sig Sauer P226 pistols remains is not surprising. SEAL Team 6 is frequently deployed in critical counter-terrorism scenarios, requiring swift and decisive action. Participating in the US-led invasion of Grenada in October 1983, SEAL Team 6 played a pivotal role in quelling a communist takeover of the small Caribbean nation's government. During this operation, the team encountered tragedy when 4 of its members were lost at sea during an offshore helicopter drop. The unit undertook a daring rescue mission, saving the country's Governor-General Paul Scoon from house arrest and possible execution. Additionally, they secured a vital radio transmitter. Faced with intense gunfire from Grenadian soldiers during their evacuation attempt, the SEALs swam out into the open sea, waiting for nearly 6 hours until the Navy could locate and retrieve them. However, their most notable achievement emerged with the operation to capture Osama bin Laden, the mastermind behind the September 11, 2001 attacks on the United States. After nearly a decade of eluding capture, DevGru executed its most high-profile mission to date. Though official details remain limited, it's believed that around 24 SEALs from the unit stormed bin Laden's compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan, during the early hours of May 2, 2011. Reports suggest a 40-minute firefight ensued, leading to the demise and apprehension of 22 individuals. In the operation, bin Laden was fatally shot, and his remains underwent a meticulous identification process before being buried at sea. Remarkably, all the SEALs survived the assault, even despite a helicopter malfunction that posed a serious threat to their mission. Moving on to the next entry on our list, we have the Exceptional Special Unit from Israel. Their operations are truly remarkable, showcasing incredible efficiency and skill. 1. Sayeret Matkal, Israel. Sayeret Matkal, primarily a field intelligence gathering unit, specializes in conducting deep reconnaissance behind enemy lines to gather strategic intelligence. Beyond this role, it is also entrusted with counter-terrorism operations and hostage rescues outside of Israel's borders. Originating in 1957 through the initiative of its inaugural commander, Avraham Arnon, the unit's composition comprised Palmach veterans, Intelligence Corps veterans, Unit 101 veterans, Paratroopers Brigade veterans, as well as young kibbutzniks. Much of the unit's capabilities and activities remain shrouded in extreme secrecy. During the First Lebanon War, Unit Commander Shea Avital emphasized the unit's full infantry capability. In the Second Lebanon War, the unit conducted daring operations deep inside Lebanon, during which Lieutenant Colonel Emmanuel Moreno fell in battle. The training regimen is broken into 4 months of basic infantry training in the Paratroopers Basic Training Base, integrated into regular paratroopers training, 5 weeks of counter-terrorism training at the IDF, counter-terror warfare school, followed by further CT training within the unit. The remaining training emphasizes long-range reconnaissance patrol skills, particularly navigation and orienteering, which are pivotal to the unit's operations. While most orienteering training is conducted in pairs for safety, Sayeret Matkal is among the few IDF units that perform long-range solo navigation exercises. Toward the end of their training, Sayeret Matkal recruits, along with those from other Special Forces units and pilot cadets, undergo a 2-week endurance captivity course. This involves simulated kidnappings, detention in prison-like conditions, interrogation threats, physical challenges, and demeaning tasks. This highly skilled unit has played a critical role in nearly all of the high-profile operations carried out by the Israel Defense Forces, IDF. Among these achievements are the renowned 1976 mission at Entebbe Airport in Uganda, aimed at rescuing Israeli hostages, the 1988 assassination of Abu Jihad in Tunisia, and the 2007 operation to neutralize a Syrian nuclear reactor. As one might imagine, crossing paths with Sayeret Matkal is not a wise choice, as its members undergo rigorous and exhaustive training. During its initial years, the unit was shrouded in secrecy, with its very existence remaining unacknowledged until the 1980s. Most of its operations and capabilities continue to be classified to this day. The selection process for fighters and commanders involved selective recruitment based on personal connections and referrals. While retaining its secrecy, the unit gradually opened its doors to voluntary recruits in the 1970s, a particularly strenuous strenuous selection camp known as Gibush is held twice a year, lasting several sleepless days. Aspiring recruits endure constant monitoring by medical professionals and psychologists. Those who successfully complete this arduous process are granted admission. In the 1990s, this selection model was adopted by other IDF special forces, including Sayeret units. The training regimen encompasses physical fitness, marksmanship, navigation, survival skills, specialized urban warfare training, counter-terrorism tactics, and hostage rescue techniques. Unit members also receive foreign language training, as their operations often require work in unfamiliar countries. However, one of the most challenging phases involves resistance to interrogation techniques. This final test before acceptance into the unit entails candidates being subjected to a series of physical and psychological torture tactics to gauge their resilience. Notably, only a fraction of candidates complete this rigorous preliminary training. Those who succeed are marked by their toughness, lethality, and unshakable nerves. Their mastery of stealth tactics means that adversaries may not even see them before facing deadly consequences. Sayeret Matkal's armament consists of a variety of weapons, including the Galil assault rifle and the Uzi submachine gun. Additionally, they employ imported weaponry such as the M4 carbine and the M16 rifle from the United States. The specific weapons chosen depend on mission requirements, environmental factors, and the nature of the operation. Originally established as a field intelligence gathering unit specializing in deep reconnaissance and strategic intelligence, Sayeret Matkal has expanded its mandate to encompass a range of roles beyond Israel's borders. These roles include black operations, clandestine operations, combat search and rescue, counter-terrorism, hostage rescue, human intelligence gathering, HUMINT, irregular warfare, long-range penetration, manhunts, special operations, and special reconnaissance. In a pivotal moment, Sayeret Matkal captured global attention with Operation Thunderbolt in 1976. The unit led the daring rescue of 245 airline passengers held hostage in Uganda. Displaying unparalleled creativity and intelligence, they achieved the impossible by disguising themselves as the country's dictator, replicating his vehicle and entourage. During the 2006 Second Lebanon War, Sayeret Matkal made a rare public appearance. They executed a mission within a hospital in Baalbek, Lebanon, located 100 kilometers deep within enemy territory. This hospital served as a covert operations base where Hezbollah plotted attacks alongside Iranian instructors, confident they were beyond the reach of the IDF. With the training and strength of these special units, we can only wonder how much more still lies in secret. The excitement doesn't stop here. Click on the next video on your screen where we continue to entertain you and unveil more intriguing secrets just like this one.